Hi and welcome back to my channel. I'm Tony, this is my workshop and welcome. If you're new to my channel, really pleased that you found me, and if you are new, please subscribe because we are still at the very early stages of this incredible Jagdpanther G2, this huge, enormous kit from Armortek, a 1:6 scale full metal kit, but it is gigantic. It's the biggest one I've built so far and I'm loving every single minute of it. In the last video session we did a two-part session about the wheel assembly, and I went ahead and assembled all the wheels, and then I finished off by priming them with the red oxide, and then in between then and now I went ahead and I've painted all of the wheels with their finished coat. And as you can see, I've gone for the standard color, this is the Dunkelgelb, which is the standard color that these vehicles would have been brought out of the factory in that era. And this is actually correct to the scheme that I'm going to end up doing. The top part of the tank destroyer will be a camo finish, but the main lower hull and the wheels would have been this, apart from the sprocket and possibly the idler wheel, which I will come on to later on in the session. So now we can start putting these wheels onto the tank. But before I do that, obviously we've got to install all the tyres, and there's a lot of those to go on. And ahead of doing that, obviously once I've done that on these, we can then finish assembling this particular wheel assembly. And then once they're all ready with the tyres on, I'm going to go around and I'm going to start weathering the wheels before I put them onto the lower hull, because obviously these wheels interlock with each other and it's going to be difficult to get full access to the wheels to do the weathering, and I'll show you my technique of how to do that. So quite a lot to cover, but in today's session I really believe that it's going to move the tank on incredibly, and it's going to really start transforming the look and feel, but also more importantly it'll just give me space to carry on with the important next steps. So and the time on a tradition, I'm now going to reposition the camera and we'll get stuck right in. Okay, so we're going to start off with road pair B. This is road type or wheel type B. First thing I'm going to do here is just try and find the beginning part of the masking tape, which is there. Remember we color coded these, and I just remove that, both sides of this. And you always get a little bit of masking tape left over, so that's that. Put that in the old bin, and then as described, or as I spoke about before, that allows me now to have full contact with the metal and the rubber tire, so you'll get a really good adhesion. Now I'm going to use the B7000, but before I do that I'm just going to pop that little hubcap off, and that's done, as I said before, that's done an amazing job of just protecting that bearing, so I'll just put that out of the way. So that's that, and we'll now move these out of the way so we can start looking at installing the rubber tires onto the wheel itself. Now I'm using the B7000 glue, which is a really good flexible glue. Now I promise you they don't give me this, I have to buy it, but I'm actually a real big advocate of it. So first things first, I'm just going to apply the B7000 in kind of a zigzag orientation. The reason I like this glue is that you get a bit of flexibility with it initially, so it doesn't go off that quickly, and when it does eventually go off, this rim here is allowing me to rotate the wheel around without the glue getting onto my bench. But when it does go off, it has that lovely bit of flexibility in it, which you'll need with the rubber wheels, or the rubber tires I should say. I have used the various types of glue for this type of process, but I find that this is by far the most effective glue. And now you've got the glue on the rim, you can simply just stretch it, the tire around, slide that into position, push it down firmly, and that will hold there perfectly. So we'll do the same on this side. and it is, I know I've said it many times, but it's a really fabulous flexible glue. I used it on the Series 1. I also had some issues with my Persian M26, which some of the tyres debonded, if you like, off the steel rims. So I ended up taking the rims off, the wheels off, away from camera, obviously part of the maintenance sort of thing that I do, and reattaching the tyres, cleaning them up obviously, and reattaching them using this B7000 glue, and it's a winner. It's an absolute winner. So I really recommend this. But you know, each to their own. I think the jury goes out on certain things. Everybody has their own sort of, you know, preference, good and bad experiences kind of thing. Just pop that down there. We'll put the next tyre on. That's gone on. That's quite loose, that. So that's quite loose. So I'm going to use some cable ties, I think, to keep that. When you get them loose like that, it can be problematic. Now I don't have extra long cable ties, so I'll just show you what I'm going to do here. I'm just going to connect some of these up. One more, I think. And then just feed that in. Just get a pair of pliers. You can see it's quite loose, so we need to get that tight against the rim. That's it. And then we'll leave that cable tie on there until that glue goes off, and that should be absolutely fine. So that's effectively road wheel type B, nice and easy. I'll pop that out of the way. Now I'll leave these to one side. Now we'll go on and do road wheel type A. Okay, same kind of deal with road wheel type A. Just pop that little hubcap off. Done an amazing job. Now, as I said before, when you connect these together, you're not going to be able to get the tyres over, or if you are going to have to get the tyres, you're going to have to really stretch them out of proportion, which I don't really like doing. So first things first, we're going to apply, well no we're not, we're going to remove the masking tape from these. I'm really pleased actually with the, as you can see, I just left the red oxide on the inside because there's no point wasting paint on the inside, but what that's going to do is protect the steel rim from oxidizing and rusting over time. Just do the same on this side. And I'm really looking forward to getting these weathered. Actually, I've got a new technique which I want to share with you. Been playing around with various different paints and different techniques, and I've come up with, I think, something that really works well, but I will show you that in a moment. So let's get the first tire on. So same deal, just going to with a zigzag motion or pattern. It just allows the glue to spread across the full surface, and when you press the rubber tire down, it pushes the glue up against the rim, so you get some additional adhesion there. But obviously because of the paint on the rim, you don't get, I wouldn't rely upon that. So it's really important to make sure that you do not paint the metal, keep it exposed. And almost there. Trying not to get some glue on my finger down here as I move this around. And I know I said it before, but I'll tell you, the relief when you finally get to a point where all these wheels are assembled is incredible. So this time around, the outer side is face down, and that's gone on there lovely. That's a nice snug fit. So that goes on there. I'm just gonna, yeah, that's nice. I'm really pleased with that. And now we do the same on this side. I think the next lengthy repetitive process for me is going to be the track building, which is always time consuming, but again, you know, you take your time, put a bit of music on, do it in sections. I normally do like 20 links at a time. I will be building a very small length of track once I've got the sprocket assembled, and that just allows me to help me align the sprocket with the wheels and the idler wheel, and it also kind of gets you off and running, if you like, on the track building side of things. Always a bit painful with the split pins. I use my bare hands, I don't use gloves, so quite occasionally you do end up inadvertently sort of stabbing yourself. Anyone that's ever done anything like this will understand what that means. Almost there. Obviously I'm not going to do all these wheels on camera. I'm just showing you the two variants, and I'll go off and do the rest away from camera, and then obviously we'll come back. Pop that lid back on that. And we'll put the next tyre on. Slightly better, tighter fit. And just by pushing that down, you're spreading the glue across the face of both surfaces. So that's that on there. Now we can assemble this wheel. So I'm just going to line up the holes on there. I've got my little bolts ready. Got the thread locker ready. Just going to hand wind those in to start with. Go the opposite side. If you remember the discussion we had about wheel hub type A and B, something that, I mean, it does tell you in the instructions, but obviously if you're sort of getting carried away, which you can do in these builds, it's quite easily you could end up making a mistake and trying to put the wrong hub on the wrong wheel set. But like most things on these builds, if you do realise you've made a mistake, you can come back and rectify it with relative ease. Why is that not going in there? Guess what I should have done is make sure that these pass through the steel rim before I try to wind them into position. Let's try another hole. Yeah, that's better. So let's just tighten these ones up a little bit, not too tight. Wind them in. Then you have the question of, do you paint these? Do you spot paint them, or do you leave them? Because I'll be installing this on the hull side of the tank, the inside face, so you won't see that. I might have to just pass my drill ever so slightly through that outer face. There's always one, isn't there? We'll try it without drilling it. Don't want to be drilling it now because the thread is on it. Just move that around a bit. There's always one. So I will have to I'll go and get my drill bit, and I'll put a drill just through the front face of this. No, I didn't go anywhere near the tapped hole. Just want to get through that. I think that will go now. That's it. We'll go around and tighten all these up. Don't press too hard on the face of the wheel because you will remove the paint. Not tightening them up tight just yet, just going around winding them all in. Make sure they're all going in all right. Don't want any cross threading going on. And then I'm going to start going around and putting some tightening them up now. That's nice and tight. You will know it when it's tight enough. Just you get a sense for it. Don't over tighten it because you might round off the fixing head. Just as soon as you get some really decent resistance, and then you're good to go. And that's it. I'll just give that a bit of a wipe. Obviously that, now the decision is whether I spot paint these or leave them. I probably will end up spot painting them just to protect them, but it'll be this side that's going to be on show like that. So that is road wheel type A complete. Just want to make sure that these tyres are, because we've just messed around with them, just press them back into position hard up against the steel rim. I'm not going to weather the rubber on these because they do that themselves, running around the track and everything else. So that is it. I'm really pleased with that. So we're now, that's type A and B completed. We can now go on, as you can see these these interlock like that. We can now go on, complete the whole set, which I'll do away from camera, and then I'll come back and we'll start talking about weathering the wheel rims before they go on to the main tank. Sorry, just a bit of a heads up as well. I noticed when I had glued these into position that obviously, unlike the road wheel B set, where you can put it hard down on your bench and it stops the rubber tyres from just moving ever so slightly while the glue is going off. Obviously, where you've got this set up, this top one wants to carry on sliding down while the glue's going off. So I'm not going to do this on every one of these, but I just thought, you know, I'm going to wedge in between so that I'll get this sort of the right position of the tyre. What I'm going to do now, though, is all of these ones, this side here, I'm going to glue and just push them down onto my bench, get all those done, go on and do the road wheel B, and then once they're all set, I can then come back and worry about doing this one, and I can actually just have that upside down on the bench like so. So just in case you are using glue with a bit of flexibility, that's a way around it. I didn't want to do it all, so that'll do its job there. Now I will go off and I will do all of these off camera, and I will be back to show you how I'm going to weather them.
Activate. 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 Activate.
So that's all my wheels and the tyres complete and all assembled in their full pairs, if you like. Now it's time to think about doing a bit of weathering. Now I've come up with a couple of different techniques. This one here is based on using this enamel streaking paint, and I've got two brushes. One is a narrow headed brush, and I'm just going to try and get a little bit of paint on the end of that brush, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around and just apply the paint on the inside of the rim to start with. This is kind of a dry brushing type technique, so we're just going to go around with the bigger brush, the dry brush, and just start applying that into the crevices of that. And then we're going to get a piece of kitchen roll and just go around, or paper towel, and just go around and just wipe off the excess. What we're trying to do is just get sort of almost a feeling of sort of a grease build up, general grime build up. Again, this is all down to personal preference. And then using the same brush without dipping in the paint, I'm just going to go around and just apply that to the central part of it. You get this sort of kind of feathered effect. So we start to get this sort of kind of weathered look on the wheel. And just you know, this is when you can bring your own personality out into it. So if we just do a bit of a comparison between the two there. One with the weathered effect and one without. You can just see it's a subtle difference. Just a really nice subtle difference. So I'm going to go ahead and can carry on doing that. I'll tell you what we'll do one of the other wheels. You'll need a hubcap for that. It's a little bit of fun. This is where, as I said, you begin to put your own personality into these builds. And the reason why I'm doing these away from, before I put them onto the hull, is that you just wouldn't get the full access to this particular wheel once it's interlocked with the other wheel. Again, just get your paper towel, just go around and wipe off the excess of that, and then we're just going to use the same brush just to go around the central hub. And all that does is just builds up a little bit of realism on it. Now when we put these together and they interlock as they would do on the hub, you can see on the hull, sorry, you can see that effect will look pretty good when it's all completed. So I'll go on now and I'll carry on doing the rest of these, and then once I've got all of them done, we'll be able to put them onto the tank once and for all. Okay, time to install the wheels, long awaited. So I'm just going to put a little bit of grease on these axles. This is just really to help get the wheels to slide into position. Don't go crazy, but just a little bit of grease goes a long way. And now we have to kind of work this through in sequence. Obviously now this is the back of the tank, so the double wheel, road wheel, let me just double check, is a B assembly, goes on the back here, and I'm just going to just position that ever so, literally just a couple of millimeters on there. And I'm going to slide the interlocking wheel, hopefully, into that. Get that to try and slide on a little bit. Then the next one, just again, just positioning that just on the outer rim, if you like, of the axle. Same again with this. Move that out a little bit. This was awkward as anything. Sorry if I've got my back to you. That just needs to be moved out a little bit. Just want it literally just hanging on the edge. Move that axle bar a little bit. That's that. And we go again. You just want it on a couple of millimeters, and then when we've got them all on, we can shimmy them all into place. Oops, too much. That's it. And then the last one this side. And once you've got them all into place roughly like that, it's a matter of just encouraging them to slide down. Slide into place slowly. They will go. Ouch. Try not to hurt yourself. You'll know when they're in, because they kind of lock into that final position, and that's it. That's it. That just needs to be, that one just needs to be bumped in a little bit more. That's it. Nothing's binding, all rolling as they should. That's that side done. Just need to lock them in now with the locking washers and the fixing. So I'll go and get the fasteners and we'll do that, and then we'll spin it around and do the other side. Okay, so now we've got the locking washers and the countersunk, the M4 10mm countersunk retaining fasteners. We can start putting these onto the axle. I am thread locking these in. because I really don't want them winding themselves out at some point in the future. Just make sure that that is all spinning as it should. Very pleased with that. And if you just, obviously these will go on at some point, but not yet. And I'm putting thread locker on these, but if I ever have to take them off, I can heat it up to release it. And I'm only putting a little bit of thread locker on. It's incredible. As soon as you start seeing the wheels go on, the transformation is incredible. I'm not going to do any weathering behind, because you once the track is on, you literally will not see anything. So the main thing you're going to see is the outside of the wheel. Just a little bit awkward. Might actually get a different tool for that. If I can find it, and I can't, so it's somewhere. But that's right. That's going on there nicely now. And they're all spinning as they should. Beautiful. So obviously we'll do the rest of this side, then I'll spin it round and we'll load up the wheels on the other side. The great thing about having it now mounted on my table lift is I can spin it around very easily. I can adjust the height. Oh, that is awkward. I'm actually going to go and get a different tool and make life a little bit easier for myself. More appropriate tool found. Lovely. That's better. Actually really pleased how these wheels have come out, how the weathering looks on them. All gone too easily really. I'm also, as I said, I'm just so relieved that the wheel build is over. That was a very long session. For basically 2 pages of the instruction manual, there's about 5 days, possibly longer, of build work. So, you know, when you look at these instructions, you think, oh, there's not that much there, but, you know, there is. So, last one, and then we'll spin it around. Beautiful. Well, I'm just going to spin that round now and we'll do the other side. Okay, so now it's just spun round. Don't get confused and put the wheels in the wrong positions. It is very clearly marked on the instructions. Obviously the front is now here. So that's going to be wheel assembly A, which is this one here. So I'm just going to pop that as before, so it's literally balancing on the edge. And do exactly the same thing all the way along. needs to come out a little bit. Oh. Oh, come on. Literally just wants to be right on the edge. That's better. The temptation is to push them in now, but if you do that, it'll be a nightmare. And we're almost there. Second but last. Let's come out a bit. Oh, come on. This is awkward as you like, but I thought I'd show you because, yeah, first time I ever tackled one of these, I hadn't got a clue how to do this, and I couldn't find anything online. So that's it. So we're just going to now, again, just gently move stage by stage, shimmy them onto the axles. And as I said, they will go. Ever so slowly. Quite satisfying sort of feeling when they do eventually kind of all sit in the right place. Oh, what's wrong with that one? Oh, it needs to go back. It needs to go in a little bit. There we go. Just a little. And that's it, all in place. Now again, we'll just go along and we'll just put the retainers in, and at least then we'll know they're all in the right place. Again, just a little bit of thread locker on there. Beautiful. After such a long time, it's going to be a relief to get onto something different. I really hope you found this wheel building trilogy, shall we call it a trilogy? I thought it was going to be done in 2 parts, but ended up doing it over 3 videos. And I've had all the jokes, thank you very much. Really interesting, which is my wife. Really fascinating, took a really long time. Thank you for all of those, all very much appreciated. The only reason I'm doing that is that I just don't want it. I mean, I've had it in the past when you tighten these up, the wheel's not set in the right position and it binds with the locking washer. But so far, not had any of those issues on here. So this really sort of concludes today's build session. I will finish off here and then come back to camera and let you know what the plan is for the next episode. I'll carry on, I'll get these done and then I'll be back to camera. Well, that's it. All done. All the wheels finished, assembled, painted, installed, and it was a bit of an epic journey. Sorry it's taken so long, but as you can see and appreciate, I'm sure, even though this is only 3 videos, it's hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of build. But well worth the effort in the end, because I'm really pleased of how it looks, and everything has gone really, really well. So massive thank you to Armortek for making the builder's life so easy when it comes to things like this. So far on this kit, I haven't had to do any fettling as such or anything like I've done in the past, and it's been a real pleasure to work on, and I really hope that's coming across in my videos. So now we can start concentrating on doing some really sexy stuff. I shouldn't have probably said that word, but anyway, you know what I mean. The next thing we're doing is the sprocket build, and this is a beautiful, just this beautifully engineered and machined piece. It's actually 3 components. Well, there's more, but 3 key components, and I just want to make sure that I haven't compromised myself. Will this go on? Yes, it will. Look at that, and look at it. It looks huge. It just looks massive and just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So I've got the orientation right for the tank when it comes to building the sprockets, so they'll go on. And then we've got the idler wheels. I've already gone ahead and painted the main idler arm itself, and that's just going to be fixed into position here. The idler wheel itself will have some bearings on it, and then eventually it will sit there, and that will obviously adjust the tension on the track. And then what I'm probably going to do, no, I will do, is I'll probably build around 20 links of the track ahead of the next session, so that when I come to install the sprocket and the idler tensioner wheel, that I'll be able to set set it all as it should be, and you really should be using a piece of track so that you can line everything up according to that. And of course, we'll be doing the all-important taper lock in the next session. So I'm really, really pleased with how it has gone. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, please give me a thumbs up. And as I said before, if you're new to my channel, please subscribe, because we have got a long way to go still on this incredible build. And before we know it, we'll be above the main sort of lower hull section and starting to build the top section, and that's when it's really going to start coming together. So a massive thank you to everyone for continuing to support my channel, and all those wonderful comments and all those thumbs ups. I really do appreciate them. So I'll sign off by saying I'm Tony. Love building these kits, and I look forward to seeing you in the next session. See you soon.